Hi, my name is Kristin Burroughs. I am a senior at Meredith College, majoring in child development with a minor in psychology. The title of my study is an evaluation of the inclusiveness of school playgrounds. I was advised by Dr. Pamela Norcross in the Human Environmental Sciences Department at Meredith College in Raleigh, North Carolina. Playgrounds are built for children to learn, grow, and explore in their environment. A majority of elementary schools have classrooms with children with physical disabilities and who may not be able to move independently. However, the playgrounds at these elementary schools are designed for children who are independently mobile and are able to go up onto the playground equipment. Children with profound disabilities have difficulty interacting on a playground with their peers because of physical boundaries. While playgrounds may be defined as accessible for children with disabilities, that does not mean that they are inclusive for children who are not independently mobile, thus preventing child-directed and child-centered play opportunities where they can develop many skills. An accessible playground simply means that children with disabilities have the opportunity to go up to the equipment. They do not allow for play participation with peers. An inclusive playground allows children with these profound physical disabilities to be included within the play throughout the entirety of the playground, including up in the play equipment. My research questions for the study was, are school playgrounds inclusive to children with physical disabilities? And are school principals able to accurately assess the inclusiveness of their school's playground? My participant for the study included 10 Wake County, North Carolina public elementary school playgrounds, and 20 public elementary school principals were invited to participate in the study. The playground checklist that I used was ADA, or the Americans with Disabilities Act, checklist for existing facilities. Some questions on that checklist included, is there an accessible route to the entrance of the play area? Is there an accessible route to entry and exit points of at least 50% of elevated play equipment? And do ground surfaces inside the play area comply with ASTM F1951-99 standard specification for determination of accessibility of surface systems under and around playground equipment? This tests the maneuverability of a wheelchair. The principal survey was a Google form sent to Wake County, North Carolina public elementary school principals. Some questions on that survey included, do you believe that the main area of the playground at your school is inclusive to children who are not independently mobile? What would you change or improve on your playground to make it more inclusive? And approximately how many students use a wheelchair, walker, etc. at your school? Principal contact information was collected off of public Wake County Public School websites. Once collected, principals were emailed a consent form along with the Google Form study. During this time, I went to the public elementary school playgrounds on weekends when school was not in session to collect the checklist data. The results found that the most common accessible features on these playgrounds included an accessible route that is 80 plus inches above the ground. So that means that there is a vertical clearance of at least 80 inches from the ground to the top of and an accessible route is no steeper than 1 inch of height for every 16 inches of run. There's also a wider accessibility route on larger playgrounds. So the larger a playground is, the larger the accessibility route. If the route is 30 plus feet long, a wheelchair turning space is provided. There's also space for a wheelchair to turn around at ground level play components. There's an accessible entrance route onto the playground. And an accessible route is 44 inches wide on smaller playgrounds. So the smaller a playground is, the smaller the accessible route needs to be. And last, the ground surfaces comply with ASTM F 1292-04 which is the standard specification for impact attenuation of surfacing materials within the use zone of playground equipment. So that determines whether or not a surface material is safe if a child may fall and hit their head. The least common accessible features included an accessible route connecting ground and elevated play components. So that could include a ramp. There's ground space 30 inches by 48 inches at elevated play components. There is space for a wheelchair to turn around at elevated play components. There's at least one means of support for transferring. This could include a rope loop, a loop type handle, or D-rings on corner posts. If there are less than 20 elevated play components, at least 50% of them are connected by ramps. Whereas if there are greater than 20 elevated play components, 25% are connected by ramps. There's an accessible route to at least 50% of elevated play components. And there's a high ratio of elevated and ground level play components. So this is about for every 3 elevated play components, there's at least 1 ground level on an accessible route. 100% of survey respondents stated that their school's playground was inclusive to children who are not independently mobile. However, checklist results found that on average, playgrounds received a 20% inclusivity score. Accessible features provided on most playgrounds, such as a wide accessible route, an accessible entrance, and accessible grounds, are easier to include and do not require extra equipment and extra money. On the other hand, accessible features that are the least common on school playgrounds, such as transfer supports, ramps up to elevated play components, and accessible elevated play components, require additional equipment, including the ramps, transfer systems, and elevated accessible routes, meaning no stairs. Schools on average included 11.2 accessible features out of 56 checklist items, leaving the 20% inclusivity score. Planning an inclusive playground takes purposeful planning, time, and money. It is essential for project managers to review outdoor assessments, such as the ADA checklist for existing facilities, to understand inclusive equipment and include it within their play space. My limitations for my study included a small number of principal participants. I also want to thank Meredith College's undergraduate research program for funding. Thank you.